Who do you think is the dumbest person in the Trump administration? Now, I know it's a tough contest, but I think the answer might be Pete Hegseth. One of the main jobs of the Secretary of War is to unite our country and to build the broadest possible coalition on our side. Instead, this idiot is doing everything he can to alienate Americans and piss off other countries who should be our allies.
Iran had a conventional gun to our head as they tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. It almost worked under Obama and his terrible deal, but not under this president.
This is 3 minutes into his first briefing on the war. He hasn't even named the head or the former head of Iran, the country we're supposed to be fighting. Instead, he is already going after a former president of our country, Barack Obama. American troops are out there fighting the enemy, but Pete Hegseth is back here fighting a domestic political war. And then later in the same briefing, he decides to go after another American president. Here he is talking about what a genius Donald Trump is.
And what he has shown an ability to do that other presidents can't quite seem to have the aperture to do. Well, I mean, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing.
This is half an hour later. Hegseth still has not named the current or the former head of Iran. But now he's going after two American former presidents. So just in case Hegseth didn't piss off enough people in that first briefing, he came back 2 days later, and on March 4th, he gave another briefing.
Thus far, Operation Epic Fury has delivered twice the air power of shock and awe of Iraq in 2003, minus Paul Bremer and the nation building.
So shock and awe was the bombing campaign in Iraq under George W. Bush, the last Republican president before Trump. So Hegseth is bragging that Trump's bombing campaign is way, way bigger than Bush's. Okay, we are in a war. We're literally in a war. And this guy is trying to have a size contest with the last Republican administration. And that crack about Paul Bremer. So Paul Bremer was the guy that Bush put in charge of Iraq. Okay, nobody even remembers that. But Hegseth does, and he cannot let go. He is trying to use this new war to settle his personal scores with all the Democrats and Republicans he doesn't like. And he has kept this up in every briefing he's given.
This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama.
And then here's Hegseth on March 13th.
This country's conditioned to previous leaders, whether it's George W. Bush or Barack Obama or Joe Biden.
Bush, Obama, and Biden. He just can't stop. And here he is again on March 19th.
Hear it from me, one of hundreds of thousands who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, who watched previous foolish politicians like Bush, Obama, and Biden squander American credibility.
Every time this guy talks, every time he goes after American presidents, he's dividing our own country.
Well, I've been through that movie before with the Democrats rooting against the country.
Rooting against the country. Look, you can disagree with the Democratic leader, but if you are the Secretary of War, your job is not to win a political fight with the other party. Your job is to win an actual war. So you should be trying to avoid or at least play down any domestic political differences. Instead, Hegseth is escalating. He's using the war to attack all Democrats, the Democrats. He's helping Iran.
Israel has clear missions as well, for which we are grateful. Capable partners, as we've said since the beginning, capable partners are good partners. Unlike so many of our traditional allies who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force.
Our traditional allies who clutch their pearls. Whoever could he be talking about? He came back He came back on March 19th and made it a little more obvious.
The world, the Middle East, our ungrateful allies in Europe, even segments of our own press. Thank you.
Our ungrateful allies in Europe. Trump started this war. He started this war without consulting any of our allies in Europe. And then our Secretary of War goes out in front of the press and makes it worse. He insults our allies.
Countries around the world who ought to be prepared to step up on this critical waterway as well. It's not just the United States Navy. Last time I checked, there was supposed to be a big bad Royal Navy.
Oh, the big bad Royal Navy, hardy har. And then 20 seconds later, still answering the same question, Hegseth refused to criticize Russia or China. Watch.
As far as Russia and China, we know exactly what they're doing, what they are or are not doing. We don't have to air publicly what all of that is.
We don't have to air that publicly. See, we don't want to upset Russia or China, but our own allies, like the United Kingdom, oh, we're happy to talk about them. We're happy to call them ungrateful pearl clutchers. It's almost like Pete Hegseth is more respectful of Iran and Iran's allies than America's allies. Look, there's a time and there's a place to talk about your personal faith, but this war in this place is definitely not it. So let's see. Democrats, Republicans, our European allies, our Muslim allies, or anybody else we still need to pick a fight with. Oh yeah, the media. Let's see what Hegseth has to say about them.
This is what the fake news misses. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad. Yet some in this crew, in the press, just can't stop. Or more fake news from CNN. The sooner David Ellison takes over that network, the better.
David Ellison, in case you weren't aware, is a billionaire that Republicans want to take over TV news networks and make them more Trump friendly. He wants to come up with zingers that he can aim at Obama and Biden and Bush and the Democrats and all our ungrateful allies. This guy, Hegseth, does nothing to help us win the war. He doesn't fight it. He doesn't lead it. He doesn't rally Americans together. He just stands there in a suit and brags about it and insults everybody. All he has to do is not make things worse. All he has to do is not piss off our allies and divide our country. And he can't even do that.